Okay, here we are on the Algoma University side of the Sault Ste. Marie campus. So there's the tour of SKG that I shared in last week's video. And this week's video is to talk about the university. And right here, this building in particular, Shingwauk Hall. So prior to 1970, this actually would have been referred to as the Shingwauk Residential Schools. And over there, what I'm zooming in on right now, the structure behind the black marble memorial that has some words on it, you'll see kind of a triangle-shaped rock formed piece of really history, landmark. That is where the first building was built, known as the Shingwauk Residential School. And almost at its completion, a fire happened and it burned to the ground. And so, as we continue to learn throughout this semester and we learn about the interruptions that have affected, impacted, and become what we call a part of our historic trauma as Indigenous people, it's important to acknowledge, parts of the history that have markers that still stand. The black marker in front of that one is a memorial, a tribute to really all of the children that came here, all of the children that survived, all of the children right across Canada that worked hard to put the experience of residential school, their history in a place that talks about healing, that talks about movement forward. And on that memorial, there are markers, the 7 grandfather teachings. And in one of our coming weeks, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about those 7 grandfather teachings. So on the front lawn, I'm not sure what these folks are doing here. I have my suspicions, and I'll talk about that some other time. But here, looking at, pull out the camera, now what we're looking at is the building called Shingwauk Hall. And so when that first building burnt down, this is the second building that was built here on this site, on this land, that was put aside for the purposes of learning. And there are many, I think, important things to say about this building. On the right side, as we look, straight on, that would have been for the younger and older girls. On the left side would have been for the younger and older boys that attended this school. And it carries lots of stories. There are parts of Shingwauk Hall that carry some history, pretty traumatic history actually. There is a tribute to those different stories in what is known as the Shingwauk Residential School exhibition. And so that's actually where I'm taking you so that you can see it. If you were to look online, you would see on Algoma University's website a tribute to what is called the Special Mission. And a whole bunch of stories, historical honorings, truths about this place and the significance of this place to all of the students that came here before you. Well, and maybe you're not here physically, but you are taking courses that are a part of whatever program you happen to be taking. So this is coming into the first floor of the Algoma University Sault Ste. Marie campus. And it's changed quite a bit from the days of it being a residential school. I'm going to take you up the hallway to the floor where the residential school exhibit is. We are going to end up right outside the library. This is the new addition from Shingwauk Hall. Right here is Shingwauk Hall. And so this would have been a part of the school way back when. And so the beginning of the exhibit starts here. It is really a story of the history of the school. Each of the 4 different walls on the 4 different directions carries a part of that story. And we'll start in the middle just so you can see how the story starts. So here's the front doors. Those front doors actually are very significant. And I'll talk about that also in the time to come. But here is Algoma University's commitment to reconciliation, a place for Indigenous education based on the land put aside for the purposes of learning, as indicated by this man, Shingwauk U, the beauty of the dream that he had. And so his thoughts, there's a picture of him, like the one I showed you in the last video. His thoughts on the importance of bringing a Western education to his people. He had a beautiful vision for the purposes of learning. We would trade knowledge, we would trade information, and his people would benefit from learning from the settlers, and the settlers would benefit from learning from the people of our area, the Ojibwe people. And then, unfortunately, that vision came through in a different light, came through from a teaching wigwam to a residential school. And so from 1893 to 1970, we are dealing with some history here. This wall here honors and speaks to all of the people who really were a part of this building. These people here in particular, love them, had a great relationship with them. A couple of them have passed away. Here is the first part of the residential school. This one here is at another location in Sault Ste. Marie, up on the hill. Here's some pictures of the students that attended, the life that they had while they were here, and different people that I've spoken to who were students here. Part of that life was good, and part of that life was not so good. On the back of Algoma University's property, this property that's used for education, sadly does have a grave site in the back. So this exhibit is something that is available for you to come and tour, for you to come and read about, experience by seeing. See, there's where we're standing right now in the building that is this. It's on the front steps of the front door that I showed you. This is one of their, what we would call agendas, I guess, what they did. And then this wall, I think, is something that's pretty amazing too. This wall here has some tributes to whole families that may have been touched by this system, this residential school system. In our area here, this family definitely, generationally was impacted. These two right here are part of the original founders of what is known as the Children of Shingwauk, and they are alumni. They also came here to go to school when it became a formal institution, post-secondary institution in the province of Ontario. And this one up here, Shirley, actually was the very first chancellor for this school. She's Indigenous, pretty cool. But what's I think important to note and acknowledge is that here at this school, there weren't just one or two people from a community affected. A whole family may have been impacted, being forced to attend here. So this is a brief tour of the inside of Shingwauk Hall, also known as currently Algoma University, University St. Marie campus. Stairs going up, elevators, make it a little bit more, how would I say, accessible, I guess. But definitely lots of beautiful things that you will come to learn as I continue to share with you over the next while about this school. Miigwech for joining me.